Good morning. You guys are alert, awake, and aware. I shared with the first congregation that the first time I ever spoke from the stage, I was actually in a homiletics class. And Reverend Joyce was the instructor, and our goal was to project to the back of the room. And so I'm all warmed up. I did that this morning, so I'm pretty certain you all would be able to hear me. The title of my talk is From Intention to Manifestation. And I am so excited. I'm excited that this is a brand new year, and I wish 2013 farewell. And I'm excited because I get to start just like you do, all over again. I get to co-create with the universe my best year ever. And what I know is that life can be magnificent or mediocre. And we are the ones that determine which. And each year for the past few years, I have been acutely aware of my power to co-create, and I've taken deliberate steps to ensure that what I experience, most of the time, glorifies the Most High God. And so what I share with you today is a little bit about my journey, about the steps, and I continue to fine-tune those. But they've worked for me. I've had some major manifestations in my life once I became intentional around what it is that I want to do, be, and have, and accomplish. And I share with you my experience because I want this to be your best year ever. Yes. So I'm going to start, as I always start whenever I talk. I like to define the terms that I'm going to use, and I'm using intention a lot, I'm using manifestation a lot. You'll hear me use different synonyms for spirit. Sometimes I refer to spirit as the dream giver, the vision caster, because we know that these are all wonderful, wonderful names for God, yes? So when I use the word intention today, I am referring to an act or an instance of mentally determining an action or a result. It's a determination to proceed in a certain way. It's the high resolve that Howard Thurman wrote about. And so a working definition for intention is to have in mind a plan or a purpose by which to direct one's mind, one's actions toward fulfillment of that plan. And manifestation is the materialization of spirit, a visible form of a divine idea revealed or expressed in the world. So, with the foundation laid, I'll open with a question. Where do the visions, the dreams, and the ideas for our lives come? From whence do they come? I believe that they come from the dream giver. Like the genetic code that describes our unique passions, skills, and abilities, our visions and dreams have been woven into our being from before our birth. And each of us has our own unique skill set, our own unique passions, our own unique talents. And the interesting thing is, oftentimes, it's not until later in life that it's revealed to us what is ours to do. that it's revealed to us what our life's purpose is. And so I refer to that as our awakening to the divine idea that we are and that we are to express in our lives. So we have our intention, and then there's manifestation, but there's something that happens in the middle. And that thing that happens in the middle is our journey. It's our path. And it's not a straightaway always. Sometimes there's some zigging and some zagging, and sometimes there's some hurdles that we have to go over. But what I know is that there's so many riches, there's so many gifts, there's so many awakenings that come to us when we're on that journey and on that path. What I also know is that in order to move from intention to manifestation, oftentimes we have to relocate. What does that mean? We have to leave the land of the familiar, and we have to embark upon something beyond our comfort zone. Because usually, our dreams and our visions are so much bigger than the ideas that maybe we have for our own lives. And so we become comfortable and we become content in doing what it is that we do. And then, it could come in the middle of the night, it can come early in the morning, but there's this impulse within, the spiritual impulse that comes and it just won't let go of us. And so when that happens to me, I know that that's the dream giver's way of saying, this is your next yet to do and to be. And so then it's up to me to either accept it and embrace it or deny it. And oftentimes, initially, I deny it because I kind of like living in the land of familiar. I know where everything is. It's comfortable. But, it just keeps nagging at me. It keeps pulling at me. And so then eventually I surrender. Yes, yes, yes. And I say yes. And then I work to overcome my fears. What I also know is that oftentimes between our intention and our manifestation of that intention is that big wall of fear and uncertainty. But the power of intention enables us to climb over the wall. Or sometimes, crawl under it. And for some of us, it's like they just plow right through it. But therein lies the power of intention. So, my goal is to help you to close the gap. And I can only teach you what I know. So I share my very personal story with you. I actually stood in my pulpit a couple of years ago and declared myself to be a published author. Yeah. So I set the intention, and I began to think about, how am I going to give birth to this idea? Does anybody want to hear what I have to say? And so the wall started coming up, the wall of fear started coming up. But because I had publicly declared that I was going to be a public speaker, my congregation urged me along. How's that book coming? When's the book signing? Is it going to be in the bookstore? And they even formed a writer's support group just for me. So, my journey. Yeah, start writing, start writing. Oh, then I'm so critical of my writing. I better take a class. I've taken classes, I've taken workshops. And it wasn't until the most recent workshop that I took. It was called the Personal Essay 101. But it was a journey into ourselves. And each week we had to write more and more and more and more and more and more. And then what happened was my book started to write me. And so now all I have to do is show up, and the words come. So God gave me the vision. I said yes in my heart. I started taking action in my world, and then the universe supplied the resources that I need in the way of my congregation urging me along, in the way of getting a pop-up email that says Personal 101 starts today. An editor found his way to me. He edits for Spirituality and Health. And he says, I would love to edit your book. And I know a little bit about spirituality. And so I've been working with him for the last year. And then a woman shows up in my congregation one day, and she has an e-book store. And I'd love to feature your book in my bookstore. So as a matter of fact, I'm going to make a graphic artist available to you. So I've been working with a graphic artist. He's all the way in India. We communicate only via email, but he was able to take this vision of what I want the book to look like, and he created a beautiful cover for me. The hard part, of course, is putting something in between the front and the back page. So I'm still in process, but I have affirmed that by March, it will be out. It will be done. It may be a chap book, which is a much smaller version, but it will be out because I set the intention. So I consulted two experts on the subject of intention and manifestation, and they are Dr. Holmes and Wayne Dyer. Now, you guys probably know and discovered like I did, Ernest Holmes doesn't actually talk about intention. He doesn't say the word intention explicitly. But what he does use a lot is attention, yes? What we give our attention to grows. He also talks about conviction and fire and passion. Well, I took some liberties and I liken that to intention. So when I quote Holmes, I'll substitute the word intention because I'm sure that's what he was really meaning. So in the thing itself, Holmes posits that it, God, works with us and through us, and that the seed of its perfection is hidden within us, and whatever we pay attention to will manifest. We have the ability within us to co-create. He goes on to say that the sum total of all of our thought, our will, our purpose, our belief, and our intention create a tendency in the law which causes it to react according to the sum total of those beliefs. And Wayne Dyer says something along similar lines. He says that intentions come from a deep place inside of us and are focused more on the present, the journey, than on the end result. And once we make a declaration of intention, we begin to concentrate our whole being on whatever it is we aim to achieve. He states that the power of intention is one of those things that are easy to underestimate. He says, when you make a declaration of intention and you start to concentrate every fiber and every cell and sinew of your being on bringing that into fruition, it's happening because you have set the intention, and the power lies within. Then Holmes goes on to say that we are surrounded by infinite possibility. It is goodness, life, law, and reason, and it expresses through us. And as it passes into our being, or in other words, our visions and our dreams are embodied and internalized by us, they automatically become the law of our lives. And he cautions us, we should be conscious of what it is that we are creating. So the one who wishes to demonstrate some particular good must become conscious of this particular thing if he wishes to experience it. Therefore, she must make her mind up to be receptive to it and to do this consciously. Our thought and our intentions should mark our effort and positively accompany all the statements we impress upon the law. So, setting an intention is easy. It's real easy to say, I intend to do whatever it is you intend to do. The difficulty comes in working on 3 levels to bring that idea, that divine idea, to bring that dream into reality. We have to work on the physical plane. So that's taking the action in the physical world. It's making the phone calls, it's sitting down and it's actually writing, or whatever it is that you're working towards. So that's the physical plane. Then there's the spiritual. We have to stay steeped in our spiritual practice so that we stay on course. And if we do that, we will be guided aright. So we have to do that. But what I know is sometimes what's happening in the world of effects interferes with my spiritual practice time. So I'm juggling. And then the third level, of course, is our mindset, our mentality around what it is that we're doing. Staying positive, staying above the fray of criticism and who do you think you are, ism. Staying above that, because you do get some of that. So that's the hard part. Not getting knocked off course when someone critiques what it is that you've written. I have developed such a thick skin. And so I don't take it personally anymore. When my son critiques my writing, now I just say, it's a blessing. Oh, he's fine-tuning it for me. Yes, give me more, give me more. That's a part of the journey too. I can go to a reading and let somebody just beat me up in terms of what I've written, and I just, kind of bob and weave, and it's really okay. Yes, thank you very much. And so that's been the growth process for me. First, being very, very self-critical and being fearful of putting pen to paper, to bring it on. It's only going to make me better. And so that's what Dyer refers to with regard to the power of intention. He says it's not so much the end result, it's the path that takes you there that you want to be mindful of. And so what I also know is that when we start to internalize this idea that we want to give birth to, and we do the spiritual work, we do the physical work, we do the mental work, you might have this experience that I had. And what it was is I heard the still small voice say, you were born for this. And then I started to feel it. Yes, I was born for this. My ideas can help humanity. My story needs to be told because it might touch just one soul. It might just help one person who thinks that he or she is alone. But they read my story, they empathize with my story, and then they say, oh, I'm not the only one. And that might just be the inspiration that they need to move forward. So, you may not believe it, but some ministers actually listen to their own sermons. I kind of pay attention to what I say. And so then I take heed. So I'll say all these wonderful things from the pulpit to my congregation. And then in the silence, I say, okay, are you doing that? And when I engage in whatever it is that I've espoused, then I'm pushed a little bit closer to bringing my dream to reality. But that's the work. It's taking heed, and then it's acting on it. Carlos Castaneda, you know, the author of 100 Years of Solitude, he talks about there being a relationship and a connection between intention and manifestation. And he says that in the universe there is an immeasurable, indescribable force which shamans call intent. And absolutely everything that exists in the entire cosmos is attached to intent by a connecting link. So in other words, once we lock our intention in our mind, we ignite the divine creative process. And our thought then creates a mold in the subjective, in which our intent is accepted and poured. It sets in motion the laws of attraction and manifestation and reciprocity and correspondence and increase. And all of this, of course, is in accordance to our thought. The law is the doer, and its business is to reflect in the world of effects the thoughts and intent that we cast into it. And then, when we are clear and committed to our intention, the vision caster opens the universal floodgates, bringing to us all of the resources, all of the opportunities that we need to give life to our goals. And so when this happens, like getting the notice about the course, being offered a graphic artist, the editor appearing, we are in the flow, meaning that we are in absolute alignment with our intention. And during those times, the force that's working invisibly, that's working silently, is what Dyer refers to as the power of our intention. So, in closing, I leave you with these two quotes. Intention is one of the most powerful forces there is. Do what you say, mean what you do, and those things will always determine your outcome. You create your world. And the best way to ensure the greatest satisfaction out of life is to live it intentionally. Let us pray. Vision caster, giver of dreams, power and presence back of all life. I am thy progeny. And it's from that place that I speak my word with spiritual authority, blessing everyone within the sound of my voice, their dreams, their visions, their goals, and their aspirations. And I am seeing in my mind's eye good, manifesting, appearing in myriad ways. I am seeing the world as a better place. I'm seeing a reconnection with beauty and the aesthetics. I'm seeing a world without boundaries. I'm seeing a world of compassion, understanding, right relationships, all permeated by love. And so my heart is humble and my heart is full, giving thanks for these divine ideas and their becoming, giving thanks for the great works that each individual does in their own way to make this world a better place for everyone and everything. So I can release my word now. I let it go. I send it forth unto the law of divine mind, knowing that it is made manifest in the mind of God, and each of us participates in its outpouring into our world, into our lives. So I just simply let it all go. Let God have its way with each of us. And I know that the universe is well pleased. I simply let it be. Anchor this prayer with me by affirming, and so it is. Amen. Ashe.